Okay, ready?
Yep.
All right, so Coach Wehrum, we did this a year ago, and a lot of the similar questions a year ago, coming off a historic season this year, heading into 2013 campaign in a few weeks. Reflect a little bit on the past last year, and what this team going forward will have to do to kind of what they learned. The seniors coming back learned from last year, and what you think you have as a team entering the season.
Last year was one of the finest teams I've had in 40 years of coaching. Everything came together. As exhibited by we lose 9-2 to St. Lawrence in Libya League semifinals. I have to switch our All-American goalie with a freshman goalie and wind up winning the game, shutting out St. Lawrence in the second half and winning the game 10-9. That really exemplified the type of team we were last year. Losing to Babson by 2 late in the fourth quarter in Boston and winning the game. Just some great comebacks that we had. What we did on the NCAA level was unprecedented for Union lacrosse. Winning the first 2 rounds of the NCAA and making it to the Elite 8 in the NCAA was phenomenal. So I couldn't be happier, and that leadership of those 10 seniors, as I spoke about, was outstanding. Last year, again, you lost a first-team All-American from last year's team, and Sean Aaron, who's now a graduate student at Georgetown, doing a wonderful job there. But he was a first-team All-American, first-team All-American last year, and 3-time All-American. But John Stead, Teddy McKenna, who scored big goals, Ethan Meyer, a 4-year starter, Matt Livingston, who's currently working and coaching in England, All-American player, Scholar All-American, Bobby Sullivan, Scholar All-American, the 10 seniors, Taylor Galbraith, Will Mahoney, irreplaceable. Very rarely in my career have I had young teams. I used to make fun of coaches who were always young. I would say to myself, whatever happens to your seniors? How come you're never old? And last year with those 10 seniors, I realized we were old. And this year we're real young. Our starting goalie this year looks like it'll be Stefan Basil, who's a sophomore. He's the one that replaced Sean when we had to pull him in the St. Lawrence game. Devin Jeffries is having a great preseason, so he's going to press Stefan in the cage. And we have an outstanding freshman who played on one of the top programs in the country, and he's doing a real good job for us also. So it's real happy about the group we have, but may have bit off a little bit more than we can chew in this schedule. 5 top 20 teams, so I'd be more than happy to go down by position.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what we'll do next. And you kind of went a little bit through the goaltender position there, but let's go from the net out and talk about what you have on defense, who you like returning, and maybe some newcomers coming in that'll step in and have an impact.
Okay, the defense always starts off with the goal. Stefan Basil, sophomore, extremely quick, high school All-American, played one of the best programs in the country at Fayetteville Manlius. Was able to beat West Genesee, but still young. Our junior goalie, Devin Jeffries, great job, was the MVP of our fall tournament. Very excited about his junior leadership and his character on and off the field. And then Brody Shea is the freshman. Brody's a little ways away from playing right away, but he's got the size, he's 6'2". He's the opposite hand of our other goalies, which makes it tough when you switch goalies from lefty to righty. Size is different. It makes it tougher on the shooters. On the defense, we're probably going to start 2 or 3 juniors. I have to start off with Kyle McQuiggan, who did a term abroad in New Zealand and Australia. Great leadership, started for us last year. Tanner Jones, another kid who saw substantial playing time. Excuse me, he's coming off a foot injury right now, so he won't be scrimmaging against Middlebury this weekend. Sean Joyce has done a phenomenal job for us. Great work ethic, was here all fall. Great leadership, and as a junior, heavily expected to contribute. We also have a real good transfer in Adam Sands, who transferred in from Lehigh. He's done a real good job. Outstanding freshman, defensive man from Chaminade. Sean Hanley is outstanding, could start for us on the long pole, along with Steve Melia. Steve Melia is a junior, the heart and soul, spirit of the team. he exemplifies what we would like to see in a player. Started off at Union as a goalie last year, switched to long stick midi, and he's been playing phenomenally. Him and Jamie McNulty, who just got injured a little bit in practice last night. But we're going to be pretty good on the defensive end. But again, you're trying to replace some great kids that like Livingston, Sullivan, Stid, you know what I mean, that were impact players for 3 and 4 years, and hopefully these guys will do the same. Other defensive men that I may have left out, Kendall Delgado, coming off a knee injury. Our senior leadership is Bonzel Brooks, defensive man, 4-year player. He's going to be counted on to lead the man down unit. Played at one of the top programs in the country in Gilman down in Baltimore. Danny Kiola is a freshman football lacrosse player. Brady Collins, who had a wonderful tryout and is doing very well for us. Adam Johnson, a freshman. And one of the biggest things for us, which is different, is not only did we lose the 10 seniors, but we lost coaches like Tucker Kira, who was with me for 6 years, and Kevin Rautenstraut, who was a 4-year player for me, and also a 3-year assistant coach. I've been here, this is my 7th year. Kevin has been with me every year, but he graduated law school at Albany Law, one of their top students there, and now is working for a huge firm in Buffalo. So we're replacing them with Derek Witherford, who was a All-American for me, 2-time captain, one of the finest players I've ever coached in all my 40 years, scholar All-American, and spent a year of coaching and teaching in England. And then a new addition who's vital right now is John Hannon, played on 2 national championship teams at CW Post. Great player, he's got his master's degree, and he's our volunteer assistant. John's going to be dependent on to run the box. So besides having a whole bunch of new people, it's pretty much a revamped coaching staff except for the old guy, which is me. Used to be the young guy, but now it's the old guy. Last guy on defense would have been, I think I got them all. Adam Johnson, he's from Wellesley, that's why it made me think of that. That's the same school that Derek went to. And but I'm confident in the defensive end, you know, but it always starts in the goal.
So now, I guess moving up to midfield position, one returnee that stands out to me is Alex Stone, obviously somebody that was a dominant player on draws. If you could start with him and kind of work your way out with the midfield position.
Yep. Alex turned the season around last year. It was funny, he hadn't really faced off a lot for us as a freshman and sophomore. And junior year, we were in San Diego. We were playing against Keene of New Jersey, Keene College. And we were getting killed on face-offs. And it didn't look good. The season was off to we were a little shaky right then. You know, we hadn't really won many face-offs against Cortland, hadn't done well against Babson. And I just took a shot on a Jersey kid playing against a Jersey team in New Jersey, and Alex ripped Keene apart. And has subsequently done that the rest of the year last year. And he's an All-American candidate for sure. You know, he's easy to spot out there with his long hair and everything. His great work ethic, voted almost unanimously by the team as team captain. At the midfield, where the leadership is phenomenal. Not only Alex Stone as a captain, Kyle Christine is one of the finest leaders I've ever worked with in my life. He was voted the top student athlete in the junior class, along with a young man on the baseball team. Great leader on and off, you know, on and off the field. He's signed with Morgan Stanley already. Joey Cordry, another senior captain. Excuse me. Joey was a starter on the Summit State Championship team in New Jersey. Joe is already committed to going to GE Capital for next year. So these kids, those two, you know, Cordry and Christine, pretty much, they've done their job. They've got their job for next year. They finish up their senior courses. They enjoy their senior year, and they know what they're going to be doing as soon as they graduate Union. But that senior leadership from those guys is phenomenal. 3 of our captains are at the midfield position. Other middies, Pat T. Benedetto, a junior, defensive midfielder. Connor Hall, one of our best offensive middies, is coming in. Played attack in high school, and now he's going to be playing midfield for us as a junior. Alex Stone, we talked about. Greg Mooney, who had a great fall, scored a bunch of goals so far early in the preseason for us. Johnny Andrews is a 3-year starter for us. You know what I mean? Has to produce offensively a little bit more and also be able to run on the defensive end. And our top offensive midi right now has been Nate Greenberg. Big, strong shooter that can shoot righty and lefty. And the rules have changed, Jeff, in 1 year. The NCAA came out with speeding up the play. There's no more horns. I mean, you used to walk away from a lacrosse game with a headache because the number of times the horn blew. And now you're not going to hear horns at lacrosse games. So that's going to be exciting. Excuse me. Jay Quinn, another junior midfielder who was a football lacrosse kid, and now it's strictly lacrosse. He played in the state championship game in his high school team. Adam Rosenthal is playing midi and attack for us. And that's about it for midfielder that really will contribute this year. The rest of the midfielders are relatively young.
So, yeah.
You go.
And looking at the attack position, that's certainly a position where you return some depth. You got two guys off the top of my head, and Rob Santangelo and Nolan Connors, that certainly made an impact last year, and I'm pretty sure we'll make an impact this year. Talk about those two guys and some other guys that you're looking to score this year.
That's exactly right. I never thought of that. We're young at every position except on attack. And Nolan Connors exemplifies that. He played in one of the best high school programs at Niskayuna. He started at Niskayuna. I think in his senior year they made it to the state semifinals or finals. Nolan is perseverance plus. Nolan, it hasn't been easy for him. I played attack and I'm very, very demanding on my attack, and nobody have I been harder on than Nolan Connors, but nobody has risen to the occasion like Nolan. In the Bowdoin game, which was the second round of the NCAA's, 2 goals, 2 assists, which turned the game around late in the game. Robbie Santangelo is a preseason All-American, one of the toughest kids I've ever coached. We have a recruit came up the other day, and one of the fathers was from a nearby area, Pleasantville. Robbie's from Rye, and he said, "You've never seen that kid play football." He was a middle linebacker, and 2-time state championship football team, and he plays lacrosse the same way. Tough, physical, aggressive, smart, and can shoot the ball real well. The third one is going to be between Richard Gregory from Darien, who saw a lot of playing time last year, and Adam Rosenthal. Adam is one of the most talented kids I've coached at Union. He's from San Francisco, a little bit different style of play. Got to slow Adam down a little bit, but unlimited potential. And those 4 will be our key players on attack. Other than that, we have an outstanding freshman crew. Nolan Stoffer at 200 points last year. Great high school player, a little unorthodox, unbelievable hard worker in the weight room, done a great job. Cam Slatton had 100 points as a junior in high school, and then his senior at Bella Rica, everybody focused on him and cut him down to 80 points his senior year, but still he was the focus of attention. Alex DeMario, sophomore, finisher, inside player, great pedigree, again another Niskayuna kid. Couldn't be happier with the attack. Paul Alberti, a transfer from Daniel Hand, went to Avon Old Farms. Paul's a big, strong kid, and coach had told me, you want somebody to handle the ball at the end of the game. It's not Santangelo. You may want Paul Alberti at the end of the game to ping a corner because he can get it done. And but real happy with our attack. And with the rules, Connor Hall will play some attack. Richard Gregory will run some midfield. So it's going to be I'm telling you, the sport of lacrosse has changed pretty drastically in 1 year. They didn't like the Division I teams isolate at the end of the game and holding on to the ball for 3 or 4 minutes. So those days are over. For the first time, there's going to be a stall warning, and you have 30 seconds to get a shot on goal, which is really, really exciting, especially for somebody like me who, I'm a fan of the sport of lacrosse. I like up and down lacrosse. I like when parents and people come for it to be exciting. I hate the chess match that I used to see in lacrosse. There seemed to be more activity at the scorer's bench with substitutions on and off. You yourself know that you weren't really associated with a lot of lacrosse, and you saw that there was a real lot of activity of kids running on and running off. You're not going to see that as much anymore. The players are going to have to stay on the field a little bit more. They can still substitute on the fly, but it's not going to be that horn and 5 guys go on and 5 guys come off. It's going to be, if you want to get off, you're risking your team being fast broken, so you better be ready. And To be honest with you, it's more of a player's game now. You know what I mean? I enjoyed playing when I was a player. I loved it. I felt that football, and I loved playing football, and I was a college captain at Cortland. Loved it. But that was a coach's game. You know, strategy, play calling, everything, you know. Lacrosse, in my mind, was always a player's game. Blew the whistle and let's go play. Coach was taken out of it a little bit, you know, and now I think it's becoming back to that, you know, and I'd rather see it for the kids and I'd rather see it for the fans. It's a player's game, and so hopefully we'll benefit from these new rules.
Sure.
We'll see.
Sure,
we'll
yeah.
see.
So I guess a couple things to touch on before we wrap up the preview. And the first thing, I guess, you know, any coach that comes off a couple of successful seasons like you have, I kind of asked this, and I asked it with Rick in hockey for his preview.
Yep.
Have you noticed at all, does your success, it's kind of an obvious question, but again, maybe it is an obvious question, but your success as a program, has it helped you recruiting? Has it helped you get kids that you might not have normally gotten 3 years ago?
Unquestionably.
Yeah.
Unquestionably. You wouldn't be getting kids like Stefan Basil if it wasn't the success of Sean Aaron. He would have chose other schools. You wouldn't be getting Cam Slatton and Nolan Stauffer if it wasn't the successes of Teddy McKenna. But more than anything, a school like Union, especially on the D3 level, they want to see where these kids going and working afterwards. These schools are expensive. Let's be serious. But the education and the value, the return on investment is phenomenal. To have two seniors already signed with with Morgan Stanley and GE Capital, you know,
Yeah.
that they had committed at the end of their junior year, major firms, and other firms coming in interviewing these kids. We had a good, tough practice the other night, and then there was a career fair. And it was unbelievable the number of lacrosse players that showed up. Lacrosse is a funny sport. Football, and I was one of them. You dreamed of playing for the Green Bay Packers and New York Giants, even at a small D3 school. But lacrosse, we all know, it's going to end real quick. You're going to put away your lacrosse stick and maybe come back for alumni games. But it's also a way to get maybe a foot in the door with an engineering firm, or with a financial firm, or a Wall Street firm, and I couldn't be prouder, or a law firm like Kevin Rottenstrap. So it's you know, I love that about the sport of lacrosse, because there's no true pro lacrosse.
Sure.
The kids understand, hey, this is just a game. You know, let's not get too serious and let's not get too bent out of shape over a win. And let's be honest, we won a lacrosse game. I mean, when we beat Bowdoin last year, it was great, but hey, it's just not a lacrosse game. You know, it wasn't like we brought world peace. You know, so I'm real glad, and the kids put it in perspective. I put it in perspective, and I have a wonderful time with these kids. They make me feel young. One thing that's interesting, you know, I'm 60 now, you know, but as I grow older, these kids stay 18, 19, 20, and it makes me feel young every time I get there, until I listen to my voice and realize how old I really am.
So I guess the last thing I would have you go through is just go through the schedule. And like you had alluded to earlier, it's probably one of the tougher schedules that any Union lacrosse team has played. You start the season off with a national runner-up in Cortland, and a team that obviously you're quite familiar with for many reasons. Just go through the schedule, talk about first the non-conference play, some of the highlights, some of the teams that you play, and then the Liberty League in general. What teams that you think will be strong coming back in league play?
I mentioned earlier that Tucker Kier was my assistant for 6 years, and I left him responsible for scheduling this year, and he did a great job. Maybe a little bit, we bit off a little bit more than I was ready for, but great schedule, and that's what brings kids to a school. Open up with Cortland, now the #1 ranked team in the country. Cortland hasn't come to Union since I was a senior in college in 1972. That's a long time ago. That's almost 40 years ago. 41 to be honest with you. So Cortland's tough. Oneonta comes to Union on a Wednesday game after playing Cortland, and they have an All-American midfielder, face-off man, second team All-American. Alex Stone is going to be right into it right away. They're going to have the ball a lot because of this face-off man. Then we play Babson at home. Babson runs his zone. very complicated zone, very tough to break. We were fortunate to do it last year. Then we go to Springfield, who's in the top 10 right now. We played Springfield once in my time at Union, and it was a nightmare. A bunch of physical education majors, tough kids, football kids, and you better make sure your helmet's strapped on real tight there. And then the kids go into final exams, and then we go down and play Cabrini, who was ranked number 5. Then we play Elizabethtown, not a friendly place to play. Then we come back and we play, right away we play St. Lawrence in the key game for the league. You know what I mean? Only because it's the first one. I wouldn't care if it was Clarkson or whoever, but the opening league game, you're either 1-0 or 0-1. You're not going to walk out of St. Lawrence either way. And they have been the big dog in the league, and respect has been gained from them. And then we come home, we got a Tuesday game, we get back from spring break where we play Keene, New Hampshire, who had an outstanding year last year. Then we play Clarkson at home, and then that's as far as I can think. I mean, I don't even want to go any further. I know we're Williams at Williams. I mean, it's a phenomenal schedule. RIT comes to Union. If ever you want to see some good lacrosse, some of the best lacrosse Union's seen on the D3 level will be coming to Union this year. We're going to have to play them next year. We have to play RPI at RPI. Clarkson's coming to Union, one of the top teams in the league. So, and then we finish up with Skidmore playing at Union. So it's a great league. Rankings in the league, you know, RIT right now, I would rank, honestly, St. Lawrence, Clarkson, RPI, and then Union. The league coaches voted a little bit differently, you know, and then Vassar down, you know, near the bottom because they're inexperienced and stuff. So it's a great, great league. The Liberty League put 2 teams out of the Liberty League last year, made it to the Elite 8, the only league in the country that did that. And we think this year the Liberty League is even stronger, with St. Lawrence ready to, you know, tear it up if they can, and the same thing with Clarkson and RPI. And I mean, it's a great league.
Great.
Good.